Hayes Technologies early morning. The office is sleek, modern, and bustling with energy. Ethan Hayes, 39, stands by the floor-to-ceiling window of his penthouse office, looking out at the city of San Francisco. The sun is rising, casting a golden glow over the skyline. Ethan has always been a man who thrives on power, on control, but this morning, something feels different. Ethan adjusted his suit and took a deep breath, trying to shake off the unease that had settled in his chest. Hayes Technologies had grown exponentially under his leadership, and now the company was on the verge of a major international deal, one that would solidify his legacy. Yet, despite all the success, something was missing. The emptiness inside him had been growing steadily, gnawing at him when he wasn't looking. The soft buzzing of his phone brought him back to reality. It was a message from his assistant. Meeting with the investors at 10 a.m. You're good to go for the merger deal pitch. He quickly typed a response. Thanks. See you in the conference room. Ethan glanced at the clock. 8:30 a.m. He had a few hours before he had to prepare for the most important meeting of his career. His mind wandered briefly to his son, Ethan Jr., and his ex-wife, Emily. He had barely seen his son in weeks, and the guilt weighed heavily on him. He had promised he would make more time for Ethan Jr., but his work always came first. Isabel Foster's office, morning. Isabel Foster, 32, sat at her desk in her sleek, minimalistic office. She was deep in thought, reviewing the final details of the merger deal, preparing for the presentation she and Ethan would make in front of the investors. Isabel was sharp, highly intelligent, and always in control. However, today, a sense of restlessness settled in her stomach. Isabel had always admired Ethan for his ambition, his drive. He was the kind of leader who knew exactly what he wanted and how to get it. But recently, she had noticed something in him, a shift. Ethan was distracted. He had always been passionate about the company, but his focus seemed to be fading. And Isabel couldn't help but wonder if it had something to do with the tension in his personal life. She rubbed her temples, trying to shake the thoughts away. Isabel had always kept her emotions hidden beneath her professional demeanor. She had learned early on that vulnerability was a weakness in her world. But with everything going on, her mother's illness, the constant fighting with her brother over the estate, the pressure of her job, it was becoming harder and harder to keep up the facade. The office door opened and Nina Davis, the new marketing director, stepped inside. She was dressed in a sharp black dress, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Nina was beautiful, confident, and had a presence that demanded attention. She was brilliant and had quickly made a name for herself in the company. But there was something about her that made Isabel uneasy. "Good morning, Isabel," Nina said, flashing a bright smile as she walked toward the desk. Isabel forced a smile back, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Morning, Nina. How's the marketing strategy coming along?" Nina nodded. "It's coming along well, but I wanted to talk to you about something more personal. I hope you don't mind." Isabel raised an eyebrow. "Personal?" Nina hesitated, her smile fading slightly. "I know we've been working together on the merger, but I wanted to talk about Ethan. I know it's a bit out of the blue, but, well, I think he's been a little distracted lately, don't you?" Isabel's eyes flickered with surprise. Why was Nina asking about Ethan? It was odd for someone to be so forward, especially about their boss. "I haven't noticed anything unusual, Nina, but, of course, we're all under a lot of pressure." Isabel responded carefully. masking her growing discomfort. Nina smiled faintly. I just think he's under a lot of pressure, and it's clear he's distracted, isn't it? I'm just trying to understand what's going on with him. He seems like someone who always has everything together, but now, I don't know. He's not the same. Isabel's heart skipped a beat. She had spent so much time focused on the business side of things, on keeping everything running smoothly, that she hadn't stopped to consider the personal side of Ethan. What if Nina was right? Ethan's always been a bit distant when it comes to personal matters, Nina. But he's a professional. He knows what needs to be done, Isabel said, though her voice lacked conviction. Was she lying to herself? Was Ethan really that distant? Ethan's office, midday. Ethan sits in his office, reviewing the merger proposal for the umpteenth time. His thoughts keep drifting back to Isabel and her growing distance. What had happened to their easy camaraderie? Was it just the pressure of the deal, or something more? And then there was Nina. Her presence always seemed to pull him in, her charm and confidence making it hard to stay focused. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that his relationship with Isabel wasn't as stable as he thought. There was a knock at the door, and Nina walked in without waiting for a response. Ethan, I've got the latest numbers for the marketing push. She placed the folder on his desk, her eyes lingering on him just a little too long. There was something in the Iran energy between them that Ethan couldn't quite place. Thanks, Nina, Ethan said, his voice a little distracted as he glanced at the folder. Nina leaned against the desk, her gaze softening as she spoke. You seem off lately, Ethan. Is everything okay? Ethan met her gaze, startled by the unexpected question. He smiled awkwardly, brushing his hair back. Everything's fine. Just a lot on my plate with the merger. Nina stepped a little closer, her voice lowering. You know, you don't have to do it all on your own. I'm here to help. If you ever want to talk, or if you just need a distraction. She trailed off, her words hanging in the air, her meaning clear. Ethan felt a flutter of discomfort, but quickly brushed it aside. I appreciate it, Nina, but let's stay focused on the business. His voice was firm, but there was a subtle hesitation, something he didn't want to acknowledge. Nina gave him a sly smile before stepping back. Of course, but the look in her eyes lingered, unspoken and unsettling. Later that day, Ethan and Isabel meet in the conference room, finalizing the merger proposal before the investors arrive. The tension between them is palpable, unspoken words hanging in the air. Isabel adjusts the papers in front of her, her fingers trembling slightly as she meets Ethan's gaze. Ethan, we need to talk about the merger, but also, I think we need to talk about us. Ethan looks up, surprised by the weight in her voice. What do you mean? Isabel hesitates before speaking, her voice quieter now. I've noticed the distance between us, and, to be honest, I'm starting to wonder if this partnership is what it used to be. I can't keep pretending everything is fine if we're both being pulled in different directions. Ethan's heart tightens as he realizes that the tension between them wasn't just about business, it was personal. Isabel, I didn't mean to make things difficult. I've been focused on the merger, and I don't know how to handle everything. Ethan admits, the honesty in his voice breaking the walls that had built up between them. Isabel sighs, her expression softening. I know, but it feels like I'm losing you, Ethan, and I'm not sure I can keep going like this. Hayes Technologies, conference room, mid-morning. The large glass table is surrounded by board members, and the air is thick with tension. Ethan Hayes sits at the head of the table, reviewing the final details for the merger proposal with a group of investors. Isabel Foster is beside him, but her attention seems divided. Across the room stands Nina Davis, who is preparing the marketing pitch, but her eyes keep flickering towards Ethan. Ethan adjusts his tie, his mind elsewhere. The numbers, the projections, the endless spreadsheets, they were all starting to blur together. Despite the high stakes of the deal, his thoughts kept drifting to Isabel. Her distance from him had been palpable, and her increasing aloofness was something he couldn't ignore any longer. Ethan, Isabel, we need your final approval on these marketing strategies for the merger. Nina's voice cuts through his thoughts. Pulling his attention back to the room, Isabel, who had been quiet for the past few minutes, glances at Nina and then at Ethan. Let's move forward. Ethan, we can go over the marketing plan in detail later. Ethan looks at Isabel, noticing the weariness in her eyes. She's still not herself, he thinks, but he can't quite bring himself to address it. Instead, he focuses on Nina, who is standing a little too close to him, a subtle but noticeable smile on her face. I think it looks good. Let's proceed, Ethan says, signing the papers in front of him. But his mind isn't really on the merger or the company. It's on Isabel and Nina's lingering presence beside him. He can feel the change in the air, a shift that he doesn't know how to stop. Later that afternoon, after the meeting, Ethan walks back to his office, but Isabel follows him, a slight tension in the air between them. Isabel steps into his office without waiting for an invitation, her eyes cold. We need to talk, Ethan. Her tone is serious, and Ethan can tell it's about more than just the merger. Ethan sits down behind his desk, trying to focus. What's on your mind, Isabel? She crosses her arms, her posture rigid. You're distracted. This merger is important, but I've noticed something else. I've noticed how much time you've been spending with Nina. Ethan freezes for a moment, surprised by the directness of her statement. What do you mean? Nina and I have been working closely on the marketing strategy for the merger. That's it. He's defensive, but even as the words leave his mouth, he knows they sound hollow. Isabel's gaze sharpens. It's more than that, Ethan. I see the way she looks at you, and I see the way you look at her. You're not fooling me. I know what's going on. Ethan stands up, the tension in the room rising. Nothing is going on between me and Nina. I swear, Isabel. It's all work. You know how much I care about this company. Isabel steps closer, her voice low and almost pained. That's the problem, Ethan. It's always work. It's always about the company, about the deal, about the next step. You never stop to think about what's happening right in front of you. I can't keep doing this. Ethan sighs, his frustration growing. You're being unreasonable, Isabel. Nina and I, Isabel cuts him off, her voice quivering slightly. It's not about Nina, Ethan. It's about you. You've been pulling away from me, from this company, from everything. And I'm tired of pretending like it's fine. For a moment, they both stand in silence, the weight of their unspoken feelings hanging heavily between them. Ethan wants to reach out, to explain, but he feels trapped by his own uncertainty. Finally, Isabel speaks again, quieter this time. I can't keep doing this. Ethan, if you don't make a choice, if you don't prioritize what really matters, then we're done. Scene. Ethan leaves the office early, his mind a storm of emotions. He knows Isabel's words are true, but he doesn't know how to fix things. He heads home, trying to quiet the constant noise in his head. His apartment feels cold, empty, just like he's been feeling lately. He sits down on the couch, picking up his phone and seeing several missed calls from Emily. Ethan calls her back, his fingers hovering over the screen for a moment. His son. He'd been so wrapped up in everything else that he hadn't been there for Ethan Jr. in weeks. "Hey, Emily," Ethan says when she picks up. "Ethan, I need to talk to you about Ethan." Emily's voice is filled with concern. Ethan's heart drops. "What happened?" "He's been acting out again." "I think he's feeling abandoned, Ethan." Emily says, "He misses you. He needs you to show up. Not just for the therapy sessions, but for him." Ethan rubs his eyes, the guilt flooding in. "I know, Emily. I've been so caught up in work, in everything with the company." "I'm sorry." He pauses, realizing the truth in her words. "I'll be there. I promise." The next day, Ethan finds himself back at the office. The morning light pouring in through the windows feels like a reminder of everything he's neglected. He's meeting with Nina to finalize the marketing plan for the merger. Nina walks in with her usual confidence, dressed in a sleek black dress. Her eyes glimmer as she walks toward him, and for a moment, Ethan forgets about everything else. She smiles warmly, sitting down beside him. "Ethan, you've been a bit distant lately. Is everything okay?" she asks, her voice soft but laced with something else, a hint of something more personal. Ethan looks at her, his heart racing. Was this just business, or had he been reading too much into things? "I've been dealing with a lot, Nina. You know, the merger, the pressure. And my personal life," he says, unsure of what to say next. Nina's hand brushes against his. "I know how it is. You don't have to do it all alone, Ethan." She leans in a little closer. "I'm here for you, always." The words hang in the air, and for a moment, Ethan feels something stir inside him. Is he really ready for this? He pulls back slightly, his mind racing. "Nina, I appreciate everything you've done for the company, but I need to focus on what's really important," Ethan says, his voice steady but unsure. Nina looks at him, her smile faltering for just a second. "Of course, Ethan, I understand." Her voice is calm, but there's a subtle tension in her eyes. She stands up, collecting her papers. But the atmosphere between them has shifted. That night, Ethan sits in front of his window again, the city lights flickering below. The weight of his choices feels heavier than ever. He's been pulled in too many directions, trying to balance his responsibilities to his company, to Isabel, and to his son. His phone buzzes again, a message from Isabel. "I've been thinking about everything you said. I want to make this work, Ethan, but you need to show me that you're committed, to me, to us. This isn't just about the merger anymore." Ethan stares at the message, his heart pounding. The decision he had been avoiding was now staring him in the face. Isabel, Nina, his son, everything was on the line. Hayes Technologies, midday. The conference room is filled with tension as the final presentation for the merger deal is being prepared. Ethan sits at the head of the table, reviewing the documents in front of him. Isabel stands beside him, her posture stiff and formal, but there's an air of distance between them. Nina, standing across the room, glances occasionally at Ethan, her gaze lingering just a little too long. The tension is palpable. Ethan can feel the weight of the situation in the room. The merger with the international corporation was on the verge of closing, but everything that had been brewing in his personal life was making it difficult to focus. Isabel had been growing more distant, and Nina, the young, brilliant new marketing director, was becoming more involved in the company. And, whether he liked it or not, in his personal life as well. Ethan, we're ready for the final push. The investors are expecting us to show them why this merger is a game changer for the company, Isabel said, her voice steady but cold. It was clear she was still upset, though she masked it with her professionalism. Ethan nodded, glancing at Isabel. I know, and I'm with you. We're almost there. Let's make sure this deal is done right. He had always respected Isabel's sharp mind and dedication, but lately it felt like there was something missing between them, a connection that had once been easy, now strained. As Isabel laid out the final points of the proposal, Ethan noticed Nina watching him from across the room. She smiled at him, her eyes bright with admiration. The unspoken tension between them hung in the air like an invisible thread. He quickly turned his attention back to Isabel and the papers in front of him, trying to shake off the discomfort. Later that day, after the meeting, Ethan walks down the hallway to his office, his mind racing. He's interrupted when Nina approaches him, her heels clicking sharply on the floor as she walks up beside him. Ethan, I think we're almost there with the merger. This is going to be a huge success for the company. Nina's voice is smooth, confident, but Ethan can feel a different kind of energy in the air. The way she stands so close to him, the way she looks at him, almost as if she's waiting for something more. Ethan forces a smile, trying to focus. Yes, Nina, we've worked hard to get to this point. But let's not forget, the deal still needs final approval from the board. Nina steps closer, her eyes glinting with something more than professional interest. Ethan, I know the pressure's been getting to you. You've been working so hard. Maybe it's time for you to take a break. Let someone else handle things for a while. She places a hand gently on his arm, her touch lingering a little too long. Ethan pulls back slightly, trying to maintain his distance. He felt a surge of guilt. He was so focused on the merger that he hadn't been paying attention to the growing attraction between him and Nina. But there was something inside him that felt conflicted, like he was betraying Isabel somehow, even though they weren't officially together. She was still the one he trusted most in the company. Nina, we've been through a lot with this deal, but I need to stay focused right now. Let's talk more about the merger later. He forces himself to keep his tone neutral, but his heart pounds as he walks away from her. That evening, Ethan sits in his office alone, going over the final details for the merger. His mind keeps drifting to Isabel and the growing divide between them. He looks down at his phone, seeing a message from Isabel. Ethan, we need to talk. I can't keep doing this. I need to know where we stand. Ethan stares at the screen, feeling a knot form in his stomach. He knew Isabel was right. She had been there for him, always. And yet, he hadn't been honest with her about his feelings. He hadn't fully allowed himself to admit how conflicted he was. Between his growing attraction to Nina, the pressure of his work, and his responsibility to his son, he had neglected the one person who had stood by him from the start. He quickly types a response. Let's meet tomorrow. I'll explain everything. The next day, Ethan meets Isabel at a quiet cafe. She's already seated, a cup of coffee in front of her, her hands wrapped around it. The mood is heavy, the silence between them uncomfortable. Isabel doesn't look up when Ethan approaches, and when she finally does, her face is unreadable. Ethan, I don't want to do this over text, but I need to know where we stand. Her voice is calm, but there's an underlying tension in her words. Ethan sits down, his hands resting on the table. Isabel, I'm sorry. I've been distant, and I haven't been fair to you. He pauses, searching for the right words. This merger, the company, it's been overwhelming. But that's no excuse for not being there for you. Isabel's eyes flicker with frustration. You've been focused on work, Ethan, but I'm not a part of that world anymore. And neither is your family or your son. Ethan's heart tightens. She's right. He had let his work consume him for too long. He had let Isabel slip away without realizing it. And now he had to make a choice. A real one. I know, Isabel. I've been lost in the wrong things. But I want to fix it. I want to make things right between us. Ethan's voice cracks, and for the first time in a long time, he feels vulnerable. I've been focusing on the wrong priorities, and I don't want to keep making that mistake. Isabel leans back, her eyes filled with sadness. Ethan, you have to choose. I can't keep waiting for you to realize what you want. Ethan takes a deep breath, the weight of her words hitting him. She was right. He needed to make a decision, not just for Isabel, but for himself. That evening, Ethan walks through the door of his apartment, his mind racing. He feels torn in every direction. His son needs him, Isabel needs him, and now Nina was making her feelings clear. Everything was at a breaking point. His phone buzzes again. This time it's a message from Nina. I'm here if you need to talk. Ethan, you don't have to handle everything alone. Ethan sighs, his hand shaking slightly as he puts his phone down. The growing tension in his life, the pressure from work, his family, and his emotions was becoming unbearable. Nina, Isabel, his son. He had to decide. But how could he? Ethan's office, morning. The city's skyline is clear outside, the sun rising over the bay. Ethan sits at his desk, his laptop open in front of him, but his mind is elsewhere. He is supposed to be preparing for an important meeting, but his thoughts keep drifting to Isabel and Nina. The weight of his decisions is heavy, and it feels like the walls of the office are closing in. Ethan runs a hand through his hair, staring at the endless flow of emails and documents on his screen. Everything demands his attention, but nothing feels as urgent as the emotional turbulence he's been ignoring for weeks. He glances at his phone. There's a message from Emily, reminding him about Ethan Jr.'s school performance later that afternoon. He hasn't seen his son in days. The guilt gnaws at him. The company, the merger, the investors, they've all taken precedence over his family, and it's starting to show. His phone buzzes again. This time it's Nina. I hope we can talk soon. I know things have been intense, but I think you need to let me in, Ethan. Ethan stares at the message, feeling the tug of attraction that Nina has been planting over the past few weeks. She has always been a little too close, her charm and confidence making it difficult for him to stay focused. Is this how things are supposed to be? His thoughts are interrupted by a knock on the door. Isabel enters, her expression serious, her eyes scanning the room. There's a noticeable distance between them now, an invisible wall that Ethan doesn't know how to tear down. Ethan, we need to talk. Isabel's voice is calm but firm, and it carries an air of finality. Ethan looks up, feeling a pang of guilt. She deserves more than this. He stands up, motioning for her to sit. Isabel, I know. I've been distracted. I'm sorry. Isabel doesn't sit down. Instead, she crosses her arms and stands, looking at him with an unreadable expression. You've been more than distracted, Ethan. She pauses, her voice cracking just a little. You've been distant. You've been distant from me, from the company, from everything. And I can't keep pretending like nothing's wrong. Ethan feels a knot tighten in his stomach. She's right. He's been so focused on the merger and the pressure from Nina that he's forgotten about everything that matters. I don't want to be here anymore, Ethan. Isabel's voice is quiet but unwavering. You need to make a choice. Either we fix this, or we walk away for good. I'm tired of waiting for you to notice me. I'm tired of being second to your work. The words hit Ethan like a punch in the gut. He stands up, walking toward her. Isabel, you're not second. You've never been second. I don't know how to fix this. His voice cracks as he speaks, the frustration and pain in his tone obvious. Isabel looks at him with a mixture of hurt and resignation. I've been here, Ethan. I've been here for the company, for you, for everything. But I can't keep giving and getting nothing in return. She looks down, her eyes filled with unshed tears. I can't keep pretending that we're okay when you don't even see me. Ethan steps closer, but there's a distance between them that he knows he can't cross. I'm sorry, Isabel. I want to make it right, I really do. But I don't know how to fix everything. I can't just flip a switch and suddenly be there for you. Isabel shakes her head slowly. Maybe you can't. Maybe we've both been pretending for too long. She looks him in the eye one last time. I can't keep waiting for you, Ethan. I need more than this. Later that day, Ethan sits in his car outside Ethan Jr.'s school. The guilt is eating him alive as he stares at the building, wondering if he can make it in time to see his son's performance. He's been so focused on his business and his personal dilemmas that he's lost sight of what matters most. As Ethan walks into the school auditorium, he can hear the sound of children laughing, the buzz of excitement in the air. But inside, he feels a sense of disconnect. How long has it been since he really connected with his son? He takes a seat in the back, waiting for Ethan Jr. to take the stage. When his son finally walks on stage, dressed in his little school performance costume, Ethan's heart swells. His son is so much like him, determined, focused, and yet so full of life. But there's also a sadness in his eyes, a longing for his father's attention that Ethan has ignored for far too long. The performance goes well, but as Ethan claps, he can't shake the feeling that he's missed too much. His son needed him, and he had failed him. That night, Ethan sits in his apartment, his phone buzzing again. It's a message from Nina. She asks if they can meet to discuss the future of the project. But this time, something feels different. Ethan knows that whatever decision he makes will impact not only his professional life, but his personal life as well. Ethan, I think we should talk soon. Let me know when you're free. I need you to see what I can offer, what we can do together. Ethan stares at the screen, unsure of how to respond. Nina has been a source of both comfort and distraction, and her presence in his life has made him question his feelings for Isabel. But the guilt is growing, and the weight of his son's needs is heavy on his mind. He types back a short response, telling her he'll meet with her later in the week. The next morning, Ethan meets with Isabel at the office. The room is cold and sterile, the tension palpable between them. Isabel is still distant, and Ethan feels the distance between them growing more than ever. Isabel, I want to fix things. I do, Ethan says, his voice low. Isabel looks up, her face hardening. I don't know if that's enough anymore. The words hit him hard. He's running out of time, and the weight of everything. The merger, his family, and his feelings for Isabel is starting to drown him. I need time to think, Isabel. I need to figure out what I really want. Isabel doesn't respond. She just stands up, walking out of the office without a word, leaving Ethan alone with his thoughts. This is the breaking point. Hayes Technologies, late afternoon. The office is quiet now, the hum of the city below barely audible as the day draws to a close. Ethan sits at his desk, his mind elsewhere. He's staring at the merger documents in front of him, but the numbers no longer make sense. His phone buzzes. It's a message from Isabel. Ethan, we need to talk about the future. I'm giving you space, but I can't wait forever. Ethan reads the message, his stomach tight. Isabel's words weigh heavily on him. He knows she's right, he has been distant, and the cracks in their relationship are getting harder to ignore. But what's even harder is the pull he feels toward Nina. She has become more than just a colleague. The tug of guilt is strong. His work, his family, and now this unexpected attraction, it's all pulling him in different directions. He quickly types back a short message to Isabel. Let's meet tomorrow. We need to figure this out. As he puts his phone down, he feels a sudden wave of exhaustion. The decision he knows he needs to make, the one that will affect both his professional life and his personal happiness, is getting closer. But which path should he choose? Work, family, or something else entirely? That evening, Ethan is sitting at home, trying to unwind after a long day. He hasn't heard from Nina all day, but she still lingers in his mind. The tension between them is palpable. Despite his efforts to focus on family, his mind keeps drifting back to her. He can't help but think about the moments they've shared. The phone rings, and Ethan checks the screen. It's Nina. He takes a deep breath before answering. Hey, Nina, Ethan says, trying to keep his voice neutral. Ethan, I know you're probably busy, but I wanted to check in about the merger. I've been thinking about some new marketing strategies, and I'd love to run them by you. Nina's voice is sweet, but there's an undercurrent of something more, a subtle invitation. I've been thinking about a lot of things. Nina, it's not just about the merger right now, Ethan says, trying to be honest but feeling the weight of the situation. There's a pause on the other end. What do you mean? Ethan rubs his forehead, feeling the stress of it all. I'm torn, Nina. I've got too many things on my plate, too many people pulling at me, and I don't know how to handle it anymore. Nina's tone softens. You don't have to do everything alone, Ethan. You don't have to carry it all on your own. I'm here for you, remember that. The words hang in the air, charged with something unspoken. Ethan's chest tightens. Was this what he really needed? He takes a deep breath, trying to shake off the feelings. I appreciate that, Nina, but I need some time to think. I have a lot to sort out. Of course. Take your time. But remember, I'm here if you need someone to talk to. Ethan hangs up the phone, the weight of her words lingering in the room. He feels like he's at a crossroads, with two paths in front of him. His career, his family, Nina, the pieces of his life no longer fit together, and it's starting to feel like he's running out of time to make a decision. The next day, Ethan meets Isabel at a cafe, as agreed. The atmosphere is quieter than usual, with just a hint of tension between them. Isabel's eyes are tired, and her voice is calm but firm. "Ethan, we need to talk about us," Isabel says, her voice steady. "I've given you space, but we can't keep going like this." Ethan takes a deep breath. Isabel deserves the truth. He can't keep avoiding this conversation. "I know. I've been distracted, and I've been avoiding things. I can't keep doing this to you. You deserve more than this." Isabel looks at him, her face a mixture of sadness and frustration. "You've been distant. And honestly, I don't know if I can keep doing this, Ethan. I need to know that you're willing to fight for us, for this." Ethan's heart sinks. He wants to tell her that he's ready to fight, that he can change. But the reality is more complicated than that. He's been running from the truth for so long. He doesn't know if he can be the man Isabel needs him to be. I'm not sure where I stand anymore, Isabel. And I know that's not fair to you. But I need to figure out who I am in all of this." Isabel looks down, her voice breaking slightly. "I can't wait forever, Ethan. I need you to decide either you're with me or you're not." Ethan watches her, feeling the weight of her words. He's always been someone who made decisions quickly, decisively, but now everything is clouded. He wants to be there for Isabel, to rebuild what they had. But the growing connection with Nina has left him feeling conflicted. That night, Ethan returns to his apartment, feeling a heavy weight on his shoulders. He stands by the window, looking out at the city, the lights below flickering in the darkness. His phone buzzes once more. It's a message from Nina. "Ethan, I've been thinking about you. I know things are complicated, but I just wanted you to know that I'm here. Whatever happens, you're not alone in this." The words are simple, but they hit him harder than he expects. Nina is there for him, and it's becoming harder to ignore the feelings he has for her. But he also knows that Isabel is still part of his life, still someone he cares deeply about. Ethan runs his hand through his hair, feeling torn. He can't keep living like this. With so many conflicting emotions pulling at him, he types a quick response to Nina. "I'm thinking about everything. I just need some time to sort things out." As he puts the phone down, he feels the weight of the decision ahead of him. His future is uncertain. No matter what he decides, there will be consequences. Hayes Technologies the following morning. Ethan walks into his office, the weight of the decisions ahead heavy on his mind. The walls of his office, once a place of power and control, now feel suffocating. He sits down at his desk, looking out over the city of San Francisco, his thoughts swirling round his son, Isabel, Nina, and the future of his company. Ethan's mind is a whirlwind. Isabel had made it clear she needed him to make a choice, to decide whether he was committed to her and to their future. But how could he choose? Nina had become a constant presence in his life, and the attraction he felt for her was undeniable. His son, Ethan Jr., was growing distant, and he felt like he was losing him, just as he was losing Isabel. The pull of work was always there, but family with personal connection had become more important than ever. His phone buzzes. It's a message from Isabel. "We need to talk. I can't keep pretending everything is fine. I need an answer." Ethan reads the message twice. He knows this conversation is coming. He can't keep dragging it out. He's at the edge of a precipice, and one wrong step could make everything crumble. He takes a deep breath, runs a hand through his hair, and responds, "I'll meet you later. We'll talk then." He puts the phone down and takes a moment to collect himself. This is it. He has to choose. Isabel or Nina, his son or his career. A few hours later, Ethan arrives at a small cafe where Isabel is waiting for him. She's seated at a corner table, her back straight, her expression unreadable. When she sees him, she stands up, her eyes locking with his. Isabel's voice is steady, but there's a hurt in her eyes that Ethan can't ignore. "Ethan, we need to settle this." She pauses, her gaze never leaving him. "I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending like you're here when you're not." Ethan sits down across from her, the tension in the air thick and uncomfortable. "Isabel, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to lose you. But I feel like I've lost myself in this." Isabel's eyes soften, but there's no mistaking the sadness that lingers there. "I need to know where we stand, Ethan. I need to know if you're going to be here for me, not just physically, but emotionally. I need to know if you're willing to fight for us." Ethan feels the weight of her words, but the truth is, he doesn't know the answer. Is he willing to fight? He's been fighting for success, for power, for control. But has he been fighting for the things that really matter? For Isabel, for his family. "I want to fight for us, Isabel. I do. But I need time to figure out what I really want. What's more important to me?" Ethan's voice cracks slightly as he speaks, the reality of the situation settling in. Isabel leans back, her arms crossed. "Time is running out, Ethan. You've already chosen, and I need to know if it's me or if it's her." Her voice is quiet now, but the finality in it makes Ethan feel as though he's losing something irreparably that evening. Ethan returns home, the apartment feeling empty and cold. He can't escape the pull of the choices he has to make. Nina's face is still fresh in his mind, and his conversation with Isabel lingers like a dark cloud overhead. Ethan sits by the window, looking out over the city. The lights below twinkle like distant stars, but they feel far removed from him now. The life he built, the success he chased, the relationships he had, they all seemed to be slipping through his fingers. His phone buzzes again, a message from Nina. "Ethan, I've been thinking about you. I know things are complicated, but I need to know if you're really ready to take a chance. I'm here for you. I always will be." He reads the message once, twice. Nina. The temptation to dive into something new, something exciting, was powerful. But deep down, he knew the truth. This wasn't just about Nina. It was about himself, about where he wanted his life to go. He types a response to Nina. "I'm sorting things out. I'll be in touch soon." He sets the phone down again and rubs his eyes. Isabel, Nina, Ethan Jr., the pressure is suffocating. The next day, Ethan stands outside Ethan Jr.'s school, waiting to meet his son. The conversation with Isabel weighs on him, but he knows that this is where he needs to start. He can't keep running from what matters most. As Ethan Jr. walks out of the school, he spots his dad standing by the car. His face lights up, but there's still a hesitance in his step, a distance Ethan hadn't seen before. "Hey, buddy," Ethan says, walking over and pulling him into a hug. Ethan can feel the hesitation in his son's embrace, and it breaks his heart. "Dad, I'm glad you're here, but you haven't really been around," Ethan Jr. says, his voice quiet. Ethan pulls back, looking at his son with a heavy heart. "I know, son. I've been distracted, and I'm sorry. I promise I'm going to do better. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." Ethan Jr. looks at him, nodding slowly but not entirely convinced. "I hope so, Dad. I really do." Ethan smiles softly, but it feels bittersweet. He's lost so much time and he's not sure if he can ever make up for it. Later that night, Ethan sits in his apartment once more, the weight of the decisions ahead feeling heavier than ever. He stares out the window at the city, the bustling lights below, a constant reminder of the life he's built. But this time, the city doesn't feel like home. It feels like a distant place, a place where he doesn't belong anymore. Ethan's phone rings. It's Isabel. Ethan, I can't keep waiting. I need an answer. I need you to make a choice. Are we moving forward, or are we done? Ethan stares at the screen, feeling the finality of her words. He has no more time to hide behind excuses or indecision. He has to choose. Isabel or Nina, his son, his family, his future. Ethan takes a deep breath, the weight of the world on his shoulders. The answer is clear. He just has to take the leap. He picks up the phone, but as he begins to dial Isabel's number, his hand hesitates. For the first time, he doesn't know if he's ready. Hayes Technologies, late morning. Ethan's office is buzzing with activity as employees prepare for the final stages of the merger. The usual hum of work fills the room, but Ethan feels disconnected from it all. He sits at his desk, staring blankly at the documents in front of him. His thoughts keep drifting back to Isabel and Nina, and the weight of the decisions he has to make. He hasn't slept properly in days. Ethan rubs his temples, trying to clear the mental fog. The merger is finally nearing completion, but all he can think about is the mess his personal life has become. Isabel had asked him to make a choice, and he couldn't keep putting it off. Is it her or Nina? And what about his son? His role as a father had been slipping through his fingers, and now it felt like he was losing everything. The phone on his desk buzzes. It's a message from Isabel. Ethan, we need to meet. I can't keep doing this. I need clarity. Please let me know when you're free. Ethan stares at the message, feeling a lump form in his throat. He can't keep avoiding this conversation. He knows Isabel is right, he needs to make a decision. But what about Nina? And his son? He takes a deep breath and types a reply. Let's meet in an hour. I'll explain everything. A cafe near the office, a quiet spot where Ethan and Isabel have met before. The mood is somber as Ethan arrives. Isabel is already seated, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee. She looks up as Ethan walks in, her expression unreadable. Ethan, thank you for coming. Isabel's voice is calm, but there's a hint of frustration just below the surface. Ethan sits down across from her, taking a deep breath. He feels the weight of everything pressing down on him, but he knows this conversation is inevitable. Isabel, I don't know how we got here, but I know I can't keep pretending like nothing's wrong. Isabel doesn't say anything immediately. She simply looks at him, her eyes searching for something, perhaps an explanation, perhaps reassurance. Ethan, I can't keep going like this. You've been pulling away from me, from the company, from everything that we've built, and I'm starting to wonder if you really want this anymore. Ethan's heart sinks. He never intended to hurt her, but the weight of his emotions has kept him silent for so long. I've been caught up in the merger, Isabel, but I know that's not an excuse. I know I've been distant. She shakes her head, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. It's not just about the merger, Ethan. You've been distant emotionally for months. You stopped being there for me a long time ago. Ethan feels the truth of her words hit him hard. He had been so focused on the merger and everything else that he had neglected the people who mattered most. He reaches out, gently taking her hand in his. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much I've hurt you. I've been so consumed by everything else that I lost sight of what's important. I don't want to lose you, Isabel. Isabel pulls her hand back slowly, her face a mix of sadness and frustration. Ethan, you need to decide. You need to decide if you're really in this with me, or if you're just going to keep running away. Later that afternoon, Ethan walks into his office, still shaken from his conversation with Isabel. His mind is a blur of conflicting emotions. The phone buzzes again, this time from Nina. Ethan, I've been thinking about everything. I know things have been complicated, but I need to know where we stand. I need you to make a choice. Ethan stares at the screen, the weight of Nina's words sinking in. How could he make a choice? He feels torn in two. Nina, Isabel, his son. Every direction leads to a different set of consequences. Just then, the door to his office opens, and Nina walks in, her smile bright but her eyes full of concern. Ethan, we need to talk about the marketing strategy for the merger, but I also wanted to check in on you. You've been distant lately. I want to help, if you'll let me. Ethan looks at her, his chest tightening. Nina, I don't know how to fix everything. His voice cracks as he speaks. I don't know how to make everything work. Nina steps closer, her hand lightly brushing his arm. You don't have to do this alone, Ethan. I'm here for you. You don't have to carry this burden by yourself. Ethan looks into her eyes, feeling the tug of attraction once again. He had never been this vulnerable, not even with Isabel. But he knew he had to make a choice, and he couldn't keep dragging it out. I don't know what to do, Nina. I don't know if I can make everything work. He looks down, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't want to hurt anyone. Nina's gaze softens, but there's an underlying intensity. I understand, Ethan, but you need to decide. For your own peace of mind. For your future. That night, Ethan stands by the window in his apartment, looking out at the lights of the city below. The silence in the room is overwhelming. He has made it this far by making decisions based on logic, based on what was best for his company. But now, faced with the choices in front of him, he feels completely lost. His phone buzzes once more. This time, it's a message from Emily. Ethan Jr. misses you. He's been asking about you. Can we meet tomorrow? The message is a dagger to his heart. His son. The person he's neglected the most. He stares at the screen, torn between the world of business and the world of family the next day. Ethan meets Emily at a quiet park. They sit on a bench, their son playing in the distance. Ethan looks at Emily, his guilt and regret weighing heavily on him. Ethan, he misses you. He needs you. And I need you to show up. Emily says, her voice full of emotion. Ethan looks at her, the truth settling in his heart. I know, Emily. I've been absent, and I'm sorry. I need to be there for him, for both of you. Emily nods, but there's a sadness in her eyes. He needs consistency, Ethan. He needs to know that you're really here for him. Ethan watches his son, his heart breaking at the thought of how much time he's lost. I will be, Emily, I promise. I'm going to change. That evening, Ethan sits alone in his apartment once again, the weight of his decisions pressing down on him. He can feel the walls closing in as the phone buzzes with a final message, this time from Isabel. I've been thinking about everything, and I've made my decision. We can't keep going like this. If you're not ready to commit, then it's time to let go. I can't keep waiting. Ethan's heart sinks as he reads the message. Isabel is right. He's been running away from the truth for too long. Now, it's time to face it. He picks up the phone, typing a response to Isabel. I understand. I'll be there to talk tomorrow. I'll make my choice. Hayes Technologies, early morning. The office is calm, but Ethan feels the storm brewing inside him. The final details of the merger need to be wrapped up, and the board meeting is just around the corner. But Ethan's mind is miles away, consumed with the decision he has to make. He sits at his desk, staring at the glowing screen in front of him. The numbers on the merger proposal are blur. Ethan's phone buzzes. It's from Isabel. Ethan, we can't keep doing this. I need you to make a choice. We need to talk. His heart sinks as he reads the message. Isabel had made it clear that she couldn't wait forever, and Nina had been vocal about needing a decision as well. His son, Ethan Jr., needed him, but his world was falling apart. The weight of his choices felt like a crushing burden on his shoulders. He had told Isabel he would meet her, but now the reality of making the decision was hitting him harder than he expected. What was he willing to lose? What was he willing to fight for? He quickly types a response to Isabel. I'm coming to meet you. I'll explain everything. He presses send, then sits back in his chair, looking out over the city. He has to choose. Isabel's apartment midday. Ethan stands at the door, his hand resting on the handle. He takes a deep breath before knocking. A few moments later, Isabel opens the door, her face guarded but tired. There's a silence between them as she lets him in. Ethan, Isabel's voice is steady but filled with something unspoken. She looks at him, her arms folded across her chest. We can't keep doing this. I need you to be honest with me. I can't keep waiting for you to make a decision. Ethan walks into the living room, sitting down on the couch. The air between them is thick with tension, the same tension that has been building up for weeks. He feels the weight of her gaze as she waits for him to speak. I know I've been distant, Isabel, and I know that you've been waiting for me to make a choice, Ethan says, his voice quiet but firm. He looks at her, trying to meet her eyes. I've been torn between work, my personal life, and what's right for me. And I know it's not fair to you. Isabel shakes her head, her expression hardening. No, it's not fair. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to you. We've been walking around in this circle for months, Ethan. I need you to decide. Ethan looks down at his hands, feeling the weight of the moment. He had kept Isabel waiting for too long. He could see the frustration, the pain in her eyes, and it cut him deeper than any business deal ever could. Isabel, I don't know if I can give you everything you need, Ethan says, his voice full of uncertainty, but I'm willing to try. I've been focusing on work for so long that I've neglected the people who matter most. Isabel's eyes soften slightly, but there's still a sadness there. It's not just about trying, Ethan. It's about showing up. It's about making a choice and sticking to it. I need someone who will be there for me, not just when it's convenient. Ethan looks at her, his heart heavy with regret. I want to be there for you, Isabel, but I need time to figure out what I'm ready to give. His voice cracks slightly. I'm not ready to walk away from everything, from you, but I don't want to keep hurting you either. Isabel stands up, pacing slightly before turning back to him. I can't keep waiting for you to figure it out, Ethan. I deserve more than this. Ethan stands up, walking over to her. I know, and I'll give you an answer soon. I just need time to sort through everything. Isabel looks at him, her expression softening just a little. I can't give you more time. Either you're with me or you're not. And if you're not, then I need to walk away. Ethan's heart aches at the finality in her words. He had no more time left to delay the inevitable. Later that day, Ethan meets Nina for the first time since his conversation with Isabel. The meeting is scheduled to discuss the final stages of the marketing plan for the merger. They meet in a quiet corner of a restaurant, but the tension is palpable between them. Nina is sitting at a table when Ethan arrives. She looks up and smiles, but there's something more intimate in her gaze now. She gestures for him to sit down, and as he does, he can feel the space between them filled with unspoken feelings. Ethan, I'm glad we could finally sit down and talk, Nina says, her voice low, almost soothing. Ethan nods, trying to keep his focus. I've been thinking a lot about everything, Nina. About the project, about the merger, about you, and about Isabel. Nina's expression flickers, just for a moment. She leans in slightly, her eyes locked on his. Ethan, I've told you before that I'm here for you. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. I want to be there for you, not just in business, but in everything. Ethan takes a deep breath. I know, Nina, and I appreciate that more than you can imagine. But right now, I have to figure out what's best for me, for my family. Nina sits back, her smile fading. I understand, Ethan, but you need to realize something sometimes. We wait too long to make a choice, and then we end up losing everything. I just want you to know that I'm here whenever you're ready. Ethan feels the weight of her words, but something inside him pushes him to stay focused on the bigger picture. Nina's presence is compelling, but Isabel is still in his heart. He cannot afford to lose both. I'm not ready to make that decision yet, Nina, but I'm working on it. That evening, Ethan returns to his apartment, the weight of the decisions heavier than ever. His phone buzzes again. It's a message from Isabel. Ethan, I need to know what you're going to do. I can't keep being in limbo. I deserve more than this. Please, make a choice. Ethan stares at the message, the urgency in her words finally hitting him. He can't keep running from the decision. He has to choose Isabel or Nina and his son, or his career. He stands by the window once more, watching the city below. The future is uncertain, but he knows one thing for sure: he has to choose a path, and it can't be postponed any longer. No more indecision. No more waiting. Ethan's apartment, early morning. The city's skyline outside is bathed in soft sunlight, but inside Ethan's apartment, the air feels thick with tension. He stands by the window, staring out at the city below, his mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The choices he has to make are weighing down on him: his career, his son, his relationships with Isabel and Nina. The stakes have never been higher. Ethan runs a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of the past few weeks crash over him. His phone buzzes again. It's a message from Isabel. Ethan, I can't keep waiting. I need to know where we stand. The message feels like a final ultimatum, and Ethan knows he can't delay this decision any longer. Isabel has asked him to choose, and the time has come. But there's Nina, the connection they've shared over the past few weeks. His son, Ethan Jr., has also been asking about him more, and he realizes that his family is at the heart of everything he's fighting for. He glances at the clock. It's almost time to meet Isabel. His phone buzzes again this time. It's from Nina. I hope you've made your decision. Ethan, whatever happens, I'm here. Just remember, You don't have to do it alone. Ethan sighs. The pressure of the moment feels suffocating. His mind flicks to the conversation he had with his son just a few days ago. Ethan Jr. had said he missed him, and that was a wake-up call he couldn't ignore. A small cafe near Isabel's apartment. Ethan arrives, his heart heavy with uncertainty. Isabel is already seated at a table, a cup of coffee in front of her. She doesn't look up as he approaches, but the tension between them is palpable. Ethan, Isabel's voice is steady, but there's a hint of exhaustion in it. She looks up at him as he sits down. I'm glad you came, but we need to settle this. Ethan takes a deep breath, looking at her. The woman who had stood by him through so much, who had shared the highs and lows of their professional lives, was now asking him to choose. He couldn't deny the love he still had for her, but at the same time, the feelings he'd developed for Nina felt undeniable too. Isabel, I've been thinking about this non-stop. I know you need me to make a choice, but it's not easy. I don't want to hurt you. His voice cracks slightly, the words feeling foreign to him. But it's the truth. Isabel leans forward, her eyes softening for a brief moment. I know you don't want to hurt me, Ethan, but this isn't just about not hurting me. It's about being present, about committing to something that's worth fighting for. I need to know if you're willing to fight for us, for this relationship. Ethan looks down, feeling the weight of her words. He's not just fighting for Isabel, he's fighting for himself, his future, his family. I can't promise everything will be perfect, Isabel, but I can promise that I will try. He pauses, searching for the right words. I don't want to lose you, but I also know that I need to fix the mess I've made of things. I need to be better for my son. I can't keep putting work first. Isabel's gaze softens, and she takes his hand gently in hers. Ethan, I want to believe you, but I need more than just words. I need action. Later that afternoon, Ethan heads. That evening, Ethan finally meets with Nina at a quiet park near his apartment. She's sitting on a bench, looking up at the stars. Her face softens when she sees him approach, and she stands up, walking over to him. Ethan, I've been waiting for you, Nina says. Her voice gentle but confident. Ethan takes a deep breath, his heart pounding. I've been thinking about everything, Nina. About you, about Isabel, about my son. Nina watches him, her eyes full of understanding. I know this is hard. I don't want to make this harder for you, but I need to know where I stand in your life. Ethan, you don't have to make a decision today, but I need to know if I'm someone worth fighting for. Ethan looks at her, torn between the two women who have become so important to him. He's been fighting for success for so long, but he knows that the real fight is now, for his family. Nina, I care about you, but I can't keep running away from the truth. I need to focus on my son, and I need to make things right with Isabel. Nina nods slowly, her face filled with sadness, but also understanding. I get it, Ethan. I don't want to be the third wheel in your life. I just want you to be happy, whatever that means. Ethan returns home that night, his mind clearer than it's been in weeks. He stands by the window, staring out at the city lights below, his thoughts focused on his son. He knows the time has come. He can't keep balancing between work, his family, and his feelings for Isabel and Nina. He has to choose. His phone buzzes one last time. It's from Isabel. Ethan, I've been thinking. Maybe we're not meant to be together, but I hope you find what you're looking for. I won't hold you back anymore. Whatever you choose, I just want you to be happy. Ethan stares at the message, his heart heavy. Isabel's words hit him deeply. He had never meant to lose her. But now, he knows he has to let go, not just for her, but for his son. The next morning, Ethan meets with Emily and Ethan Jr. at the park. He spends time with his son, reconnecting in ways he hasn't in years. The laughter and bond between them remind him of what truly matters. He knows that he's made the right choice. Later that day, Ethan calls Isabel one last time. "Isabel, I've made my choice," Ethan says, his voice firm. "I need to focus on my family and my son. I want to be a better father. I want to fix what I've broken with you, but I need time to rebuild myself." Isabel's voice is quiet but filled with understanding. "I hope you find what you need, Ethan. I really do." The final shot shows Ethan standing by his window once again, the weight of the past few weeks lifting from his shoulders. He knows the road ahead will be difficult, but for the first time, he feels at peace with the decision he has made. He looks out at the city below his future, uncertain, but now full of possibilities.